Hello and welcome to episode 301 of Sutton and Back Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and I'm still recovering from the weekend football game.
It was great. Fantastic.
You know what? January might be the best month of football we've had in a long, long, long time. I mean, the best January month, because the college football playoff games, except for the championship, were all great. The semifinals, and this first round of playoff games, where I swore there was going to be a couple blowouts, and every game turned out to be really good, and came down to closing minutes.
Yeah, where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with the Jaguars-Chargers.
Yeah. A game that would have been easy to turn off in the first half.
I mean, I agree. We talked offline. I can't believe they haven't fired the coach by now. I realize it's only Monday, but there was enough gas in that game.
Yeah, and I guess
it's time for a change.
You just go back over decisions made over the last 2 years with that team, and then you look at weeks, 18 this year, where, he's playing, Mike Williams, who's, I guess perpetually hurt, gets hurt playing in a meaningless game the week before the wild card game. So it's sort of like one of those, why are your starters even out there in the second half?
And then one of your starters gets dinged up, and you're really playing the bottom line of your receiver. You're playing your special team guys.
Yeah. And then you look at that game, and again, like we talked about offline, and many people have made this point, you're up 28-7 at the half, I think.
Yeah.
And, you're snapping the ball with 20 seconds left on the play clock. And, eventually, that adds up.
And you have Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got one of the best offensive players in the NFL. And he's an effective runner if you want to run him.
He's a very effective runner.
He's not just a receiver.
No. And he looks small, but he gets the job done.
Jalen Warren reminds me of Eckler.
Ooh, that's nice.
Same kind of player.
Yeah. But we also have to give all kinds of props to Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in the first half.
And he threw 3 in the first quarter.
3 in the first quarter. And, you think about, historically bad, Delhomme, Nate Peterman, just where you throw yourself out of a game. Like they won a game being down by 28 points at half and having 5 turnovers. And Trevor Lawrence seemed like he did not remember a single turnover the rest of the game.
I was waiting for somebody to invoke the Ted Lasso, think like a goldfish. Trevor Lawrence is like a goldfish. That's what I was waiting to hear, and I didn't hear it. I was surprised.
Now, I found this interesting, but I heard some NFL Network analysis. They were basically saying, especially on all 3 Asante Samuel picks, who had just a phenomenal game for the most part, they kept throwing the ball inside, and then the entire second half they were throwing the ball outside.
Yeah.
So, and, because Trevor Lawrence has got a cannon of an arm. And then we got to talk about his freakish, became like 9 feet tall when he got that 2-point conversion, right?
That was amazing. That was beautiful.
It's so weird to watch. Like, it just looks... He looks like he extends his whole body like Stretchy Man or the who were they? Reed?
Well, he's 6'6".
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a small guy.
No.
But the way he just palmed that ball and put it over there. And we saw what happened when you couldn't do that.
Yeah, in the Bengals game that we'll get to later, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah.
But like you said, the ability to say, and I think Roethlisberger was the only other one with that number of turnovers and still won a game.
Yeah. Because, again, I can't imagine you're a quarterback. You throw 3 picks in the first quarter. You throw another pick in the second quarter. You've thrown 4 picks. Your team's down by 4 touchdowns. And, I think it takes a special talent to be like, nope, we're good. Don't worry about it.
And it says a lot about your coach.
Yes.
It says a lot about somebody that doesn't panic and kept the locker room together at halftime and came out and executed and adjusted. And I can't say enough about him. I mean, he did a phenomenal job. He would be the Lions coach and the Giants coach. If they all shared the coach of the year, I would be fine with it.
Yeah, because they all very much deserve it. So
Those are the three
Jacksonville.
most deserving people by far.
So Jacksonville, much like the Lions, and I think we can throw the Giants and the Steelers in there, seem like they were, young teams in a really good position. But Jacksonville
Yeah.
gets to go next week to Kansas City.
Yeah, and I think Patrick Mahomes is too much for them, for a young team to overcome.
I agree.
And arrested Patrick Mahomes with 2 weeks, and Andy Reid having 2 weeks to prepare. Yeah. But you know what? Based upon this last week, it could be a barn burner.
It could. Because I think the Chargers defense is a little bit better than the Chiefs defense.
Oh, no question.
But I think the one thing you said, it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, Patrick Mahomes is not going to blow a 28-point lead in the playoffs. He'll make a play. Whether it's with his legs or his arm, he'll find a way to make a few plays to make sure they win that game.
I hope they do the ring around the Rosie play again.
It was nice.
It was sweet. Totally uncalled for. Totally rubbing your nose in it, but it was funny.
Yeah.
And it worked.
And again, as an NFL fan, it's nice seeing Trevor Lawrence, who is supposed to be this generational talent, start to look like a generational talent. Because you can never have good quarterbacks to watch, right?
No, and he could have really Urban Meyer could have really screwed him up last year, and I'm glad this coach was able to straighten things out.
Yeah.
But, kudos to this team. I hope the Chargers sign Sean Payton because Justin Herbert needs a really good coach.
Yeah. And I think if you're the Chargers,
what he can do.
yeah, and both these teams, Jacksonville, like as nice as Zay Jones has been this year and Christian Kirk, they need a number one wide receiver. And the Chargers with old man Keenan Allen and constantly hurt Mike Williams probably need to get Justin Herbert a guy too. Because I just don't think.
What, I'm sitting there watching all these games this week. I'm going to digress for a minute.
Okay.
And I had on my fantasy team. All right, I had Austin Eckler.
Nice game.
Travis Etienne.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Diggs. And Mark Andrews.
Yeah. He had a good fantasy week.
Lost 8 games in a row.
It just took him a while to round into form.
And Robbie Gould is my kicker.
Yeah. They just needed some time to get there,
I just didn't have a quarterback.
No.
Kyler Murray wasn't the answer. Jimmy G wasn't the answer. Mike White wasn't the answer. Just ran out of positive. Tom Brady wasn't the answer. I had them all, but none of them had a good year.
Yeah. Would you want to do AFC and then we'll go to NFC? So we'll go.
Yeah, so let's do Baltimore, Cleveland, Baltimore, Cincinnati.
Another game that shouldn't have been this close, right?
I wouldn't think so. But Baltimore came in with a good game plan and really made Joe Burrow look uncomfortable and sacked him and hit him a bunch of times. And that's what you have to do. Joe Burrow's like, Brady. You got to hit him a bunch of times.
Yeah. No, they had constant pressure. Like we talked about offline, like once they made the Roquan Smith trade, it unlocked their whole defense, which was already a pretty good defense.
Yeah, their defense is great.
But you add Roquan Smith to that mix, who's both an incredible athlete and incredibly cerebral, good play caller on the defensive side of the ball, and it just changes everything you do. Because like they said, now Patrick Queen, who's great at running into the ball, can just sort of do his thing, and, Roquan Smith handles the calls, and it just, they look great. And that running game, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, those guys both look good last night. And, anyone that hasn't watched it, go watch the last play of this game. Travis Huntley running backwards, flings the ball in the air. It gets tipped, and it goes right through a Ravens' hands that could have won, or tied the game or won the game? Tied the game, right?
Tied the game. We're tied the game.
Yeah. And then I guess
Yeah.
I forgot to mention while Trevor Lawrence was super successful with his dive over the top, Huntley had the ball swatted back and ran back for a 98-yard touchdown.
But you don't try and jump from the 3.
No.
I'd have ran Dobbins wide, or I'd have ran Huntley wide. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Or I'd have given it to that big.
The fullback?
It used to be a defensive lineman.
Yeah. No,
30 pounds.
And there was a couple of those J.K. Dobbins plays where, like, Dobbins and the fullback go one way, the two right offensive linemen pulled the other way, and then Huntley could sort of pick and choose which way he wanted to go. Yeah. It was a great play on defense, though. And Huntley, to his credit, did have two hands on the ball. It just, he got volleyball spiked right back to the Cincinnati defenseman.
And kudos to him. He really ran his butt off.
He did. Yeah, and
I
he
had James Harrison flashbacks, Jay.
Yeah, and because was it Mark Andrews that was running right, was trying to catch up? Because it was a very close, close block towards the end.
I would have called block in the back.
Yeah, it looked to me like it was
on his back and he pushed him.
Okay, that's what I saw too, but
yeah, they didn't call it.
No.
I thought the Baltimore sideline would be much more irate than it was, but hey, it is what it is, right?
Yeah. And Cincinnati will now go to Atlanta to play the Bills, who we'll talk about right now. They should have.
They won't go. Whoa! They won't go to Buffalo to play the Bills.
No, it's played at a neutral site based on the cancellation of the last game.
Oh, okay.
So they're playing in Atlanta in the Dome, I think, is where they decided to play that game.
Gotcha.
And Buffalo, who was playing Miami with Skylar Thompson as their quarterback, coming up from Miami to Buffalo in January. You would think that is not even a game, and we got a game.
It was a 13.5-point spread.
Yeah. And needless to say, the Dolphins covered.
Yeah. The smart money was there, 13.5 points. And I literally thought, there's no way. I mean, what was it? It jumped out. It was it 17-0?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought they're well on their way.
Because again, you got a guy making his third start in Skylar Thompson, who, looked more like a career practice player, third string quarterback, maybe a backup at different points in his career, but certainly not now. And, a banged up Miami team, but they came to play.
They came to play. Their coach is really good.
He is. He's very good.
But he got ate up in the moment because, that last play, they had any timeouts left. They weren't prepared for a fourth down play, and I think he thought they made the first down.
I think he did too.
And I don't see how he thought that because it wasn't even close. But I don't know. There's that one play. I'd have liked to see them have a better play to see what they could have done.
It was very exciting. And I think, and we talked about this before we podcasted too, we were just having a normal casual conversation on the air, was that Josh Allen has got that Roethlisberger Favre quality where he's going to give you a couple of opportunities to make plays on the ball if you're a defensive player.
Yes, he is.
And, it certainly works most of the time because he's such a phenomenal player, such a phenomenal athlete. But when you have to go through the grind, it's the playoffs and the Super Bowl, you can't have those plays week to week.
No. Like you saw that pass he threw to Davis in the end zone. That was phenomenal.
Incredible.
And then you saw that pass he throws downfield. The only guy that's going to catch it is the Dolphin.
Yeah, and an easy pick.
So, yeah, an easy pick. So you don't know quite what you're going to get, but you're willing to roll the dice because of what he is and what he could do for you.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing.
And again, I compared him to two Hall of Fame quarterbacks, so it's not like I'm, knocking him.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just that, well, I guess let's move to our new favorite coach and quarterback combination, Daniel Jones and who's the Giants coach? Why am I forgetting his name all of a sudden?
Daboll.
Brian Daboll. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I would assume they're going to, I assume they now signed Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
They now signed Daniel Jones for a lot more money than they would have signed Daniel Jones for in August.
Easily. He looks good. He's looked good all year.
This coach, it shows. I mean, it shows that whoever drafted him, as high as they drafted him, he has been validated. That they saw what they saw, and now it's been validated. But it took the right coach to bring it out.
Well, he was straddled with Jason Garrett, who nobody has been able to explain why he still has a career, even in broadcasting to me. But, who's nicknamed the Clapper, has been consistently a bad play caller and a bad coach throughout his career, and now he's on television and he's bad at that. So, you know, that was going against Daniel Jones for a couple seasons.
Yeah, and it's not like Daniel Jones has the most amazing crew of wideouts.
He has nobody.
I mean, there's not, you get into debate about who the go-to guy is.
I mean, it was supposed to be.
There's not somebody that you have to worry about.
It was supposed to be Kadarius Toney. Yeah, Kadarius Toney, who they traded to the Chiefs this year, who just had maybe the worst hamstrings in the entire planet, who can't stay on the field. But they drafted him 21st overall, in his draft. And now he's already off the team. And now you just got this smorgasbord of whoever, no-name wide receivers making plays.
Yeah.
And Kayvon Thibodeau,
I would assume they would invest in a wide receiver. They need a little bit. They need somebody to take the top off the defense and give somebody something to think about.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Saquon Barkley looked amazing, though.
Yeah.
Although they don't use him, maybe it's by design, but I'd have definitely ran him a few more times in that game.
Yes, I would have enjoyed that from a financial standpoint as well. But they look really good, and they go to Philadelphia to face, the wire-to-wire front-runner in the NFC in Philadelphia, but a team that, Jalen Hurts missed, the last 3 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's had a bye week, so...
He missed 2 and he played the last one, but he didn't look like... He looked okay. He looked rusty.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what he does now. He's had an extra week off, and we'll see. Is either Jalen Hurts that was playing really well in November, or what's he going to be? It's going to be interesting to see. But I think it's going to be a good game. They played 3 times. We'll see what Daboll does. I mean, we both thought they'd beat the Vikings, and they did.
Yeah. And, the poor Vikings and the Viking fans. We have some in our family, so pour one out for them. And again, you look around and they put up, 28, 31 points? No.
What was it? I forget what the final was.
Was it 37-31? No, that can't be right. That sounds right.
30. I'll look it up while we're talking.
Okay.
I mean, I was impressed.
Yes.
Really impressed with the Giants. And I think they're hot. I think the Giants could be problems for the Eagles.
Yeah, because like we said, the Eagles are coming off a bye week. They haven't had their full team together for the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. They had their division wrapped up, for the most part, a while ago. So they haven't even had a lot of, meaningful games over the last end of the season.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. I would be reticent to pick against the Eagles right now.
Oh, this is a game that, I won't touch as far as gambling goes because it's just, it's a weird one.
Anything can happen.
And then in our last playoff game, we didn't have a great game unless you're a giant Brock Purdy fan.
Well, you know what? It got close, and then they came back in that first half.
It's true.
Surprisingly, and then then it was over. He played well in the second half, but I am a giant Brock Purdy fan, and I just think he reminds me style wise of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Style wise.
And as he pointed out, he's like, I just have to throw the ball, and the other guys take care of all the yards after the catch. Because you got Debo, you got McCaffrey, you got Mitchell, you got Kittle, you got Ayuk. You've got a really good offensive line. They're just a really well put together football team. Top to bottom.
The Giants lost 31-24.
Okay. Yeah. I know people, they were hammering Kirk Cousins because he threw on 4th and 8, he threw a 3-yard pass.
Yeah, and I don't think that was by design. I mean, they were on him.
Yeah.
He had to throw the ball. You can't take a sack on 4th down.
No.
So I think a little bit of that criticism's unwarranted. I mean, that wasn't the play call.
No.
I mean, that's what was open, and you have to, at the 4th down, you've got to throw it, get it out of your hand, and hope something happens.
And again, you had a tight end on a defensive back, and the hope is he breaks a tackle and stumbles for the 7 yards, gets the first down. It just didn't happen.
And I'm still trying to understand how and why the Lions traded him.
Why they traded who?
The tight end, the Hawkinson, whatever his name is.
Hawkinson, yeah. I think, that to quote our favorite coach, Mike Tomlin, they wanted volunteers, not hostages, a little bit. I think part of that was about situation, I think with the new coaching staff coming in, I think, some guys were just, had been there long enough. They were frustrated with Detroit, didn't see what Dan Campbell was putting together, what Jared Goff was eventually going to, be able to do. And, it is what it is, right?
Yeah. If he stayed with the Lions, maybe the Lions are in the playoffs and the Vikings aren't.
It's real possible, yeah. But like we said,
he really had a big year for the Vikings.
He did. Yeah. And I mean, I think,
but again, maybe it's the perfect fit. Maybe it's just a much better fit there with Jefferson and other things, Thielen and these other receivers. I mean, he becomes an option that they can't devote enough coverage to, and he's always open.
It's quite possible. And then that means our 49ers, they're going to play the winner of a game you're going to tonight, right?
Yes. And I don't see the 49ers losing that game.
No matter who it is?
No matter who it is.
Yeah, the 49ers, when you look at them, their only question mark, on both sides of the football is basically Brock Purdy, who thus far has shown that he's perfectly capable of doing everything he needs to do.
He doesn't make stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
He throws the ball away. He's very, like I said, he's very Brady-esque, and I know could be an overreach, but I'm just saying he's just a smart quarterback that's going to manage the game and not lose the game for his team, despite being the last player drafted.
Yeah. Because you just don't
even drafted after Skylar Thompson.
Yeah. You just don't expect the last pick in the draft as a rookie to be in this position, be playing as well as he's played all year.
God, no.
So
God, no.
That's why you're stuck in this situation where it's like, could Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, who I think will beat the Cowboys tonight, go in there and beat in San Francisco? And it's like, I feel like San Francisco's defense could win that game.
Well, I'll tell you what. Deebo Samuels looked like a beast.
Yeah.
He is a beast. McCaffrey, Brendan Ayuk, Kittle, that's an offense.
Well, there was that.
I would take those options over anybody's options.
Oh, without question. And did you see that there was one play where Deebo ended up running the ball, but they came out with him and McCaffrey in the backfield. McCaffrey went out wide. He stayed in the backfield.
Yeah.
Just the versatility that team has. And Kittle's another one of those. Like, Kittle's, old school. He's as great of an athlete as he is. He's an old school, real tight end. Like, he can block. He's an asset in the running game.
And he is a good runner with the ball.
Yeah. All their guys are. You get the ball in any of their hands, and they can make guys miss, and they can take the ball, Ayuk on down.
And then you got Robbie Gould, who's never missed a kick in the postseason.
Yeah. Eventually, if they keep saying that, he's going to. But as of now, he's good.
No, very impressive. So I was wearing my 49ers hoodie all day Saturday, and I bought a Creamsicle Buccaneers. They call him Bruce the Buccaneer for some reason, but I'm wearing Bruce the Buccaneer hoodie tonight to the game.
Okay.
With a Steeler hat.
Yeah.
So I can rub it in the Cowboy faces.
I think so. And with Dallas, they just, it's hard to have faith in them, right? I think Monday night.
I don't think there's a team I dislike more in any other sport than I dislike the Cowboys. On the field. I love the Cowboys' business model.
Yeah.
But I don't like the Cowboys on the field.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. But, who knows what tonight will bring us, but it has been an incredible weekend of football.
It has been. It's pretty incredible. It's going to be a little cold then. It's going to be in the 40s here in Tampa. But that's good football weather.
It is. And, Brady obviously has lots of time. And as, many people have mentioned and we talked about too, like, while Brady's never been one to take a hit, he's a much more, I just need to get into the postseason sort of player. So I think you are going to see a more aggressive, more taking ability to take a hit tonight, Brady, than normal.
I think you will too. And I think he's going to have a good game.
And speaking of Brady, I just ordered the TB12 sampler. So I'll report on that in the next few weeks as to how I feel about it.
Oh, the nutrition thing?
Yeah. They had just a sample offer where you get one of all of his products, including his bars, his proteins. And I figured it was worth $10 to pay the shipping,
No avocado ice cream?
No, that's not. Well, maybe one of the bars is avocado ice cream flavor. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, let us know how it is.
Yeah, because I was curious, and I was like, well, for $10, I'll try all your products, TB12.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue against
I've got
what
a
he's...
Pittsburgh moment.
Okay.
Pittsburgh moment. I am pretty happy that the Pirates have re-signed Andrew McCutchen.
It was exciting to see that.
I don't think it's a good baseball move.
No. I
think it's a good political move to win back some of the fans they've lost since they got rid of him. And I think that I do think he can contribute to the other players, the younger players on the team. I think he can help that way. So I'm looking at him kind of like a player coach kind of a thing.
That's how I saw that signing. Like, you've got a young guys on this team, and McCutchen is, an MVP, an all-star, multiple time. Like, that's the kind of guy they can look to, and he's got the credibility, and he can show them how to lead the way. So.
Yeah. I mean, they let Gamble go, and he used that money for Cutchen. I'd rather have Cutchen than Gamble, so that's okay. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But then my other Pittsburgh moment is on Facebook. There was a picture of Troy Polamalu at Fiore's Pizza.
But the bad Fiore's. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, not the bad Fiore's.
No.
The one that's not quite as good as the other.
Yes.
The one that's not quite as good as the original. But you got to love the fact that here's a guy that can eat pizza anywhere he wants, and he's a Fiore's guy.
Yeah. Well, Fiore's is phenomenal pizza. And,
it's the best.
And again, we've said this before, but growing up, it was my favorite pizza. And then you leave, and you have a lot of other great pizza. And you wonder, because there's certain things you try, and you're like, oh, well, as a kid, I thought this was really good. But every time I've gone back to Fiore's, it's as good as I remember. So.
Yeah, and we didn't even have it that much of the time. Well, I'm trying to think how old you were when we started going to Fiore's.
Well, it was the second time we lived in Pittsburgh, I think.
We lived on Almont Street.
Yeah.
So you were in grade school.
Right.
Yeah, it still counts as a kid. But we ate it. And we found that I had never been there till I started working for City Parks.
Right.
Mike Radley took me there.
But to reminisce on our pizza that everybody's super excited for, we also had a rotation because we got Pizza House pretty frequently.
Yep.
And Beto's obviously got
good pizza.
Yeah, and Beto's was in a mix. Yeah. So it was
we had a lot of choices.
We did. And there was another place too, I can't remember. I want to say it's called Danny's, but I don't think it was called Danny's.
Yeah, it was Danny's out in South Park. It was kind of like Beto's.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. They had great hoagies.
Yeah.
Besides great pizza.
Well, this seems like a good transition. I got a food moment this week, Dad.
Great. What do you got?
We went to Hi Hat, which is it's been around forever. It's always got great reviews, always super popular. We just never made it in. It's over by Bearcat on Ferret Street, the one we took you to. Two cool things. One, we were first in line because they got a huge line waiting, and then one guy walked up to go to the bar, and he ate in 11 minutes from the time he walked in to the time he left. You know who it was?
Who?
The Ragin' Cajun James Carver.
Oh.
Yeah. But I've never seen anybody get into a restaurant that's like a sit-down restaurant. I think he just got gumbo and cornbread, so he was in there out fast. But, I just checked our watch. We got in at 11:30, and I saw him get up and leave at 11:41, and I was like, oh, my God. But, yeah.
It says something about the service, too, though.
It does. But the food was all excellent. She got, a pork grits sort of thing. They have a famous burger, and it's a giant, thick, juicy burger, fresh cut French fries. She got for dessert pecan pie with Jack Daniel's ice cream, and I got a chocolate chess pie that was absolutely phenomenal. Have you had chocolate chess pie?
Okay.
Have you done the chess pie, Dad?
I've done chess pie before, but I've never had chocolate chess pie.
Yeah, chocolate chess pie is really, really good. And
Wow.
a couple drinks, desserts, and everything was still under $100. So, also a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Now I would say, we got there at like 11:18, and they opened 11:30. By 11:25, there was a line like 20 something people deep. And from the time we were in there to the time they were on, there was always people waiting to get in. Just if you're, in that mindset.
It's just something about it.
Yeah. My only knock on the restaurant, and this is more of a personal taste, like they feature a lot of pimento cheese. Like their macaroni and cheese, which looked phenomenal, is pimento cheese mac and cheese. And
Yeah, I'm not big on pimento cheese at all.
no, it should have just stayed at the Masters. That's where I thought it would lived. But it's permeated many, many restaurant menus now. So, but I saw the mac and cheese, and for a second I was like, "Ooh, I want mac and cheese." And I was like, "Oh yeah, pimento mac and cheese." No, I don't. But it looked phenomenal. So, if you're into pimento cheese, it's a good spot for you.
When I was in Colombia, I went to DePrato's Deli, which is a really, really good deli. And I had a hoagie, and the hoagie was good. But they tucked me in a dessert, and the dessert was like a chocolate mousse with Oreo crust with a thin layer of cheesecake, and it was outstanding.
And it's like I'm not mad at any of those ingredients.
That was really, really good.
Yeah.
And then we came back, and for my birthday lunch, we went to Capitol Grill, which is a chain, but I like Capitol Grill. And I ate what I think is one of the most unique things I've ever had is a lobster / crab cake.
Okay.
So a crab cake with lobster in it, and they're outstanding.
Nice.
So that was really good. And then for my birthday cake, which we haven't had yet, it just came today. I ordered that chocolate cheesecake from the Nuns of New Skate on Goldbelly.
They make a really good cheesecake.
They make a great cheesecake. I've never had a better chocolate cheesecake than that one.
No, it's pretty incredible. The texture alone is just phenomenal.
Yeah. So that's going to be dessert tomorrow night after it thaws out.
Okay.
My entertainment moment, though, I want to shout out to your show, Your Honor. We watched season 1, episode 1, which premiered last night.
You mean season 2?
And,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah, season 2, episode 1 of Your Honor. And I had been critical before saying that show ended so well, it didn't need a season 2. 15 minutes into it, your mom and I were both, wow, this is great. So like I told you offline, it kind of has reminds me a little bit of The Wire, which is a very good compliment.
That's a great compliment, yeah.
And it's just, the acting is really good, the characters are really good, and there's enough interesting characters to carry the show.
Okay.
So I would definitely recommend. It's on Showtime, Sunday nights at 9 or on demand.
Nice. Well, I have 2. Mythic Quest just ended its 3rd season, and it's on Apple TV. It's from the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia guys, and it's about the video game industry, but it's a phenomenal show. And then we started watching Three Pines.
Yeah, I really like that.
And we really liked the first 2 episodes, and we're about to start, I guess, 3 and 4. Because it seems like there's an overarching story, and then there's every 2 episodes is a story, you said? Yeah.
And the episode, the 2-episode arc is really strong.
It is.
It's very strong, and I mean, it's a good. The other thing that's great about it is it gives you a good stopping point.
Yeah.
Because after you've watched 2 episodes, you go do something else because you're fulfilled, you're satisfied, but you're intrigued to go back and watch to see where the main story goes. So, yeah, I thought it was really well done. I hope we see more and more productions like this that have like an overarching story, but also have these little 2-episode arcs that are great for 2 hours of TV rather than 8 in a night. So,
and just because he's coming back, We had many seasons of Justified that had a very similar sort of vibe to them.
Yes.
And I'm super excited for Raylan in Detroit, which is coming up pretty soon. I don't know the exact date, but super excited.
I can't wait for that. That's going to be great. And I'm hoping they start throwing Justified back on, just like they do to tease you, to get you back into the character before the show actually starts.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I think you guys actually have on my Blu-rays, and they might be at the beach house. Because we have the whole series on Blu-ray.
We have the whole series. I think they're here.
Okay. I was like, there's somewhere.
I think they're here.
Okay. But yeah, that's a really good show, too. So, okay, if you're missing it, you know.
Well, we didn't talk about anything other than football today, people, so that was really all there was.
Pretty much.
You know what? It was okay. It was okay because it was so good. We didn't need anything else.
Yeah, it almost makes me nervous for next week, you know, that they won't be as good. But we have some incredible matchups next week, so I assume it will be.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Well, everybody take care. Pick your team. I'll be able to report on my experience at the Buccaneers Dallas game. And I'll see some of my friends that work for the Cowboys tonight and some of my friends that work for the Buccaneers, so that'll always be fun.
Yeah. All right, till next week.